Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. The news hit like a thunderclap, an announcement so unexpected, so jarring, that it seemed to freeze the nation in disbelief. Across living rooms, offices, and factory floors, Americans watched in shock as the headlines scrolled across their screens. The story was everywhere, dominating every channel, every conversation, every social media feed. Boeing, a symbol of American industry, a name synonymous with innovation and national pride, was suddenly at the center of a crisis no one saw coming. The company announced it was shutting down its main U.S. factories indefinitely, a move that sent shockwaves through every corner of the country. The gates that had welcomed generations of workers now stood locked, the familiar hum of machinery replaced by an eerie silence. The shockwaves were immediate, rattling financial markets and leaving thousands of workers facing an uncertain future. Investors scrambled to make sense of the news while families wondered how they would pay their bills. The stock market tumbled, and the sense of security that Boeing had long provided seemed to vanish overnight. Boeing isn't just another company, it's the nation's largest manufacturing exporter and a pillar of the economy. Its planes connect cities, countries, and continents, and its factories have been the lifeblood of entire communities for decades. The idea of its assembly lines going silent was unthinkable, yet it was now reality. The once bustling floors where skilled hands built the future of flight now stood deserted, an unsettling symbol of a nation brought to its knees. The company's statement cited insurmountable economic pressures and a collapse in international orders. Executives spoke in somber tones, analysts debated the causes, and the world watched as one of America's industrial giants faltered. Images of empty factory floors dominated the news, making the crisis feel personal for millions. The sight of abandoned workstations and silent machinery was a gut punch, a visual reminder of jobs lost, dreams deferred, and futures suddenly uncertain. Boeing planes are woven into daily life, symbols of American innovation and pride. They carry families across the country, connect businesses to the world, and represent the heights of what American engineering can achieve. Now those same planes became reminders of what was at stake. The closure felt like a betrayal, raising urgent questions about the nation's industrial health. How could a company so vital, so deeply embedded in the American story, be brought to a standstill? Was this a sign of deeper problems lurking beneath the surface? For workers, it was a personal tragedy. For the country, a moment of collective anxiety. Families faced the prospect of unemployment, communities braced for economic fallout, and the nation as a whole grappled with a sense of loss that went far beyond dollars and cents. The shutdown forced a reckoning with America's economic vulnerabilities. It exposed the fragility of supply chains, the risks of global competition, and the consequences of relying on a handful of giants to sustain entire regions. It was a stark reminder that even giants can fall, and that the consequences ripple far beyond the factory gates. The lights going out at Boeing signaled more than just a business setback. It was a warning that no institution, no matter how mighty, is immune to the forces of change. The nation was left searching for answers and for someone to blame. In living rooms and boardrooms, in town halls and on factory floors, Americans demanded to know how this could happen, and what it would take to rebuild not just a company, but the confidence of a nation shaken to its core. Former President Donald Trump's reaction to the Boeing shutdown was swift, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. Within hours of the news breaking, Trump was front and center, making his voice heard in a way only he could. In a relentless barrage of all-caps social media posts, he called the shutdown a national disgrace, unleashing a flood of blame on everyone but himself. His Twitter feed became a stream of accusations, finger-pointing at political rivals, Boeing executives, and even the media, all while insisting he alone could have prevented the crisis. But Trump's tirade was less about offering real solutions and more about stoking outrage. He attacked Boeing's leadership, accusing them of incompetence and mismanagement, and loudly demanded an immediate government bailout. His words sent shockwaves through the business world, leaving investors and executives scrambling to respond. Instead of calming the nation, Trump's outburst poured gasoline on an already raging fire. His comments fueled political chaos, sparking heated debates in Congress and igniting protests outside the Capitol. News anchors dissected every word, while social media erupted with both support and outrage. The spectacle of Trump's reaction quickly overshadowed the crisis itself. As headlines focused on his explosive statements, the real issues facing Boeing and its workers faded into the background. Public anxiety deepened, with many Americans left wondering what would happen next. Many saw Trump's response as a calculated attempt to deflect blame from his own policies. Critics pointed to the ongoing trade war with China, a conflict Trump had championed, which had already put immense pressure on Boeing and the broader economy. Instead of addressing these root causes, Trump shifted the spotlight elsewhere. The meltdown became a powerful symbol of division, not unity. Across the country, Americans found themselves more polarized than ever, with Trump's supporters rallying behind him and his critics growing even more frustrated. Trump's refusal to accept any responsibility struck many as a profound failure of leadership. Business leaders and ordinary citizens alike expressed disappointment, hoping for reassurance but receiving only more finger-pointing. At a time when the country desperately needed calm and steady guidance, it got only more conflict and confusion. Families gathered around their televisions, searching for answers, but found only more uncertainty. The episode laid bare the deep fractures running through American politics. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle pointed fingers, unable to find common ground or offer a united response. Even in the face of crisis, the nation seemed unable to come together. The sense of unity that often emerges in difficult times was nowhere to be found, replaced instead by division and doubt. In the end, the former president's reaction left Americans more unsettled than before. Instead of hope or clarity, the country was left with more questions, more anxiety, and a deepening sense of uncertainty about the future. Boeing's importance to the U.S. can't be overstated. As the top exporter, its success boosts the economy and supports a vast network of suppliers nationwide. A shutdown doesn't just hurt one city, it ripples across all 50 states. Boeing provides high-paying jobs and drives innovation in aerospace, defense, and technology. Its collapse threatens America's technological edge and national security. The company's history is a story of American ambition and achievement. The shutdown is more than economic, it's a blow to national pride. It challenges the belief in American exceptionalism and industrial invincibility. That's why the news hit so hard, shaking the country to its core. Boeing's silence is a symbol of deeper anxieties about the nation's future. Trump's trade war with China was meant to protect American jobs, but it backfired. Tariffs disrupted global supply chains, raising costs for companies like Boeing. China retaliated with its own tariffs, targeting key U.S. exports. Boeing, as America's largest exporter, was hit especially hard. The trade war pushed China to favor Airbus, Boeing's European rival. What was meant to strengthen American industry instead handed an advantage to competitors. The loss of the Chinese market was a devastating blow for Boeing. The tariffs didn't bring jobs back, they triggered a crisis. Boeing's shutdown is a direct result of these flawed policies. The trade war's unintended consequences proved catastrophic. A strategy meant to display strength exposed a critical weakness. China isn't just a customer for Boeing, it's the world's most important aviation market. For decades, China's rapidly growing middle-class and booming travel industry made it a goldmine for aircraft manufacturers. Every year, Chinese airlines placed massive orders, fueling Boeing's growth and helping it compete on the global stage. Boeing's future depended on steady Chinese orders, which were essential for its global competitiveness. These deals weren't just about selling planes, they meant jobs for thousands of American workers, billions in revenue, and a steady stream of innovation to keep up with rivals. But when the US-China trade war erupted, this once symbiotic relationship turned into a major liability. Political tensions spilled over into business, and Boeing found itself caught in the crossfire. China halted new Boeing orders, weaponizing its market power in the dispute. The message was clear. In a globalized world, economic ties can be used as leverage. The loss of Chinese business left a gaping hole in Boeing's finances. Profits plummeted and investors grew anxious as the company's stock price tumbled. Existing orders stalled, and uncertainty paralyzed planning. Planes that should have been delivered sat idle while factories slowed production and suppliers faced layoffs. Boeing couldn't replace China's demand elsewhere. No other market was large enough or growing fast enough to fill the void left by China's absence. The damage was immediate and severe, threatening the company's long-term position. Workers faced layoffs, communities dependent on Boeing suffered, and the company's future looked uncertain. Meanwhile, Airbus quickly filled the gap, eroding Boeing's market share. Chinese airlines turned to Airbus for new planes, strengthening the European manufacturer's foothold in Asia. The trade war forced China to look elsewhere with lasting consequences. New partnerships were forged and trust in Boeing as a reliable supplier was shaken. Ironically, a policy meant to protect American industry instead exposed its vulnerabilities. Boeing's dependence on a single market became a glaring weakness. Boeing's reliance on China became its Achilles heel, a single point of failure that threatened the entire company. The fallout was swift and devastating, leaving Boeing scrambling to recover and forcing the entire industry to rethink the risks of global interdependence. The trade war wasn't Boeing's only problem. Years of internal issues had left the company fragile. The 737 MAX crashes shattered its reputation and led to global groundings. Investigations revealed a shift from engineering excellence to cost-cutting. Outsourcing and quality lapses caused production delays and eroded trust. Financially weakened, Boeing was already struggling before tariffs hit. The trade war was the final blow to an unstable company. Internal failures and external pressures combined in a perfect storm. Boeing's collapse was years in the making, a lesson in the dangers of neglect and mismanagement. Boeing's shutdown is just the tip of the iceberg. Trump's trade war hurt many American industries, not just aerospace. Farmers lost key export markets, leading to bankruptcies across the Midwest. Tech giants like Apple and chipmakers faced higher costs and falling sales. Even Harley-Davidson moved production overseas to avoid tariffs. The trade war's ripple effects stifled investment and innovation. Policies meant to protect U.S. jobs often pushed companies to relocate them abroad. The economic pain was widespread and indiscriminate. Boeing's crisis is the most dramatic example, but far from the only one. The lesson in a global economy: protectionism can backfire badly. The fallout from these policies is still being felt across the country. The Boeing shutdown put Trump's trade philosophy under a harsh spotlight. His promised tariffs would revive American manufacturing. The reality factories closed, jobs vanished, and the economy suffered. Public skepticism grew as the costs became clear. Critics from all sides questioned the wisdom of protectionism. The shutdown became a symbol of failed policy. Americans demanded accountability and a new direction. The debate shifted from whether tariffs worked to how to repair the damage. Boeing's collapse forced a national reckoning with economic nationalism. Boeing's collapse is a turning point for America's approach to global trade. The evidence is clear. Trade wars inflict more harm than good. Future leaders must seek sophisticated collaborative solutions, not blunt force tariffs. Building international coalitions and using diplomacy are more effective than going it alone. Policymakers must understand the complexities of the global economy before acting. The goal should be to strengthen American industry through smart, steady leadership. The Boeing crisis is a call to learn from failure and chart a better path. The question now: how quickly can America move beyond trade wars?